Yuzuru Hanyu's solo tour Yuzuru Hanyu I Story Second Replay Tour began on November 4 at Saitama Super Arena. Following November's prologue performance and gift performance at the Tokyo Dome, the theme of the third solo performance is a series of life choices. Hanyu expressed his thoughts through a story that questions the value of life and how to live. Are you a person who follows your dreams or a person who is afraid? Confession of conflict. This time the production is based on the worldview of the game. The story, written by Mr. Hanyu himself, will unfold using projection mapping, using the entire surface of the ice and images projected onto a large screen. He explained how he chose the game as his theme. In the game, the concept of life is in some ways easy, or rather repeatable. That's why you can move forward based on your curiosity. If you apply it to the real world, perhaps you are a human being with the desire to achieve your dreams. But if you look at it from a different point of view, you can be a very scary person. Mr. Hanyu spoke about the conflict he faced. He could feel the pain he was experiencing because he was fighting from the perspective of a player in the game, not just from the perspective of someone controlling the game. The show began with the song A Dream That Will Ever End, from Final Fantasy X. When Mr. Hanyu appeared in a white cloak, the audience erupted in applause. Through the integration of smooth skating and projection mapping, viewers will be transported to a fantasy world. The second song is Chicken, Snake and Pig by Ringo Shine. The beginning of the work begins with the Heart Sutra, which takes the viewer to another space. Mr. Hanyu, dressed in a black suit, continued to perform, shaking his body violently, as if suffering from earthly desires. The final performance took place on a stage set up in front of the front seats. The audience couldn't help but rejoice. The third song was Hope Legacy, and he showed off his beautiful and flexible skating. Then in the silence there is the sound of feet hitting the ice and the sound of deep edges scratching the ice. This further led to the creation of the fourth song, Megalovania. This is respect to the original song and original work. Megalovania is a battle scene from the story of the game Undertale, and at first there is no sound, only the sound of the enemy's special attack. There is a scene where you can hear it. Mr. Hanyu said, by creating scenes similar to those in the game, it was clear that the production created a connection between Hanyu as a skater and the players in the game. Head into the final boss battle with your ally's Kleenex case. And at the end of the first act, the usual 6-minute practice began. In his previous solo exhibitions, he switched to normal game-like lighting, creating a just-like-the-game effect, but this time it was different. Under the intense battle music, he became more and more determined, like a warrior about to fight a boss. When creating the show, I thought about doing something like a 6-minute practice or competition format, but this time I had a strong feeling that I wanted it to be part of the work. It was just a warm-up, but I created a production that fit the song perfectly and was one of the scenes in the game, like a dungeon or a boss fight. The music stops playing and the 6-minute workout ends. In the tension of a boss fight, the way he leans down and touches the tissue box with one hand is like a figure skating match. The stuffed animal in his hand was the same one he had been separated from since he had to return home from Toronto due to the 2020 pandemic. When he returned to his hometown in April of this year, he took it with him after 3 years. He had once again found a strong ally with whom he had fought together for many years. The boss battle begins to the tune of Messenger of Destruction from Final Fantasy IX. He successfully completed a quadruple salchow, a quadruple toe loop, and a triple axel one after the other. In the end, he performed 5 consecutive jumps, triple axel plus Euler, plus 3 salchows through Euler, plus 3 salchows, and defeated the boss. The purpose of these 5 consecutive jumps is explained as follows. This program has the image of a final boss battle. At the end you finally defeat him, but wonder if you can save, I thought, but the data gets corrupted, and it doesn't end, and it continues again. Repeat again is also a replay theme. The Euler plus Salchow jump is a repetitive jump, so it fits well with the theme, and I think it's a good sound too. I thought about it and put it in. Even if there is a single jump, it is not just a scene where the character is defeated by a difficult jump, but has a metaphorical meaning. The production showed the depth of their passion for the music and each jump. Another life choice shown in the second act. The second act must return to the beginning, because the data was corrupted at the end of the first act and could not be saved. He starts performing a dream that someday will end again in white suits. The audience is left with a strange feeling, as if everything is being reset, like in a game. However, this time the piano version has a softer tone, suggesting that he chose a different path. In the final pose, in the first act, he also imagined himself touching the ice and plunging into darkness, but it ends with him reaching towards the sky and trying to grab something. This scene makes you think, maybe there was a life in which he made different choices. Maybe there was a path that was not destructive. After this, select songs that fans have been waiting for continue, such as Requiem for Heaven and Earth, To That Summer, and Spring Come. In the first act, where the battle continues, Hanyu's story and the program work together to create an atmosphere in which a glimmer of hope seems to be slowly emerging. There are different programs in one work, Direction. The goal is to show that the programs made so far also had a similar look when entering history. I take on this Ice story with a completely different spirit from my previous Ice shows. The ending of the story shows the theme of continuing to follow your dreams and continuing to pray. And here, although the theme presented from the first act was repeat selection, replay, the characters displayed on the screen change to repray. In fact, the real theme is prayer, which arises from repeated choices. The story ends with such deep nuances. If the life you chose had a path of destruction in front of it, if your life were to happen again, what would you choose and how would you feel? The general theme is, you want to get something. I don't think it's a story that asks you to give an answer, but rather a story that gives you something to think about. At the end of the performance, he thrilled the audience with an encore song, and they took the microphone to say hello. Until you stop living, tomorrow will continue. You created this Ice story because I want you to live every day with this in mind, he told the fans on the spot. In fact, on the second day of Saitama's performance, there are scenes of him making different choices and skating different routines during the game scene in the first act. If you make different choices, you can have a different life. There was also a double structure that made you rethink the depth of life every time you come to the performance. This will be followed by a performance in Saga in January and a performance in Yokohama in February. Will further life options be presented there? The performance in Saitama left an indelible impression. Repray was a luxurious and tender time where Mr. Hanyu's prayers reached everyone's hearts.